Sunday. Happy Sunday, everyone. Can I see the chat box? Can you use the chat room? Happy Sunday. So I'm sure you can hear me from wherever you are connecting from, part of the country you're connecting from. And I'm also on YouTube for our YouTube viewers. How are you? Let me also read your chat. Okay. Pastor Ebenezer, happy Sunday to you too. Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. We have our speaker with us already on the call. So happy Sunday. I know I will just share the link so people will just be joining now. Hope you've been able to listen to yesterday's topic again, yesterday's class. Hope you've been able to listen to it. How is it as your Ebenezer, where are you chatting from? Since you are the only one in the chat room right now, but I can see others joining now. If you're just joining, can you please chat so that I know we are together? Can you make use of the chat? Oh, Port Harcourt, awesome, awesome. How is Port Harcourt today? Good to hear that. How is Port Harcourt today? Awesome. Everyone, good evening. The session on family, Kofre, you're welcome. Good evening. Those on YouTube, okay, you had a fair weather in Port Harcourt. That's good to hear. The weather has been fair also, technically. Deshola, good evening. Aisha, good evening. Yes, it's nice to be here again. It's nice to be here again. And our speaker is on the call already with us this evening. Just wait for about a couple of seconds more so that a few people can join as well on YouTube. So, and then I can read the profile and welcome our speaker for today. Well done with the project. Thus far, I see the effort many of you are putting is getting more interesting over and over again. And I see the way people are, accepting different views, the ability to respond to people with different opinion and different view matters is part of what you will learn, practically, what you will learn practically. So beyond you just being taught, you are seeing, especially the leaders and even members, I can see how people are participating as well, taking ownership of the group project. Well done, everyone. Well done. For the groups that are yet to start, nobody is going to tell you to start. I can guarantee, I can tell you categorically, without the project is 100% impossible for a person to get a basic certificate, in leadership intelligence course without the project. So if you know you are in a group and your group is yet to do anything, don't allow the group to put you in trouble. Take charge, take ownership, and carry everyone along. That's what leadership is about, taking responsibility. Okay, so I was saying something, about today's class that, the issue of family is a major thing. If we get it right in the family, if we get it right in the home, then the likelihood that we get it right in the society, the chances are high. And that's why today you can see that we are treating the same topic again, but this time around, we'll be looking at it with emotional intelligence, and that's what our speaker will be handling today. But then I think I can go ahead to read the profile of our speaker for today to us. So our speaker today is been coming. So provided this profile has been coming. At least I know he has come for a couple of the LICs that we've had. This is another one. He has always honored our invitation. He's my big brother, actually. He's my big brother. So anytime I call, he answers his younger brother. I appreciate him always. So let me just read the profile. Oh yeah, Aisha, you noticed, good. So please, you know, I just want us to pay attention to the class and have your questions ready. If you have, just bring up practical issues. The practical issues you might bring to use as questions might help others as well, in answering this, because it is very, very essential that we get the home right. Leadership in the home is very key. Okay, so let me read the profile of the speaker for today. Mr. Kola Femi Ajayi is an adept administrative services and facility manager with a knack for leading high-performing teams in multinational settings. With a keen eye for emerging technology and a creative approach to business, Kolawole drives efficiency and effectiveness in operations while reducing costs and enhancing service quality. He excels in motivational leadership, mentoring, and coaching, leveraging his expertise to inspire and guide others to success. Beyond his administrative prowess, Kolawole is a certified life coach and mentor, offering guidance and support to numerous individuals seeking personal and professional growth. Additionally, he is a Google certified digital marketer with a keen interest in affiliate marketing and dropshipping, utilizing his expertise to explore new avenues for business expansion and revenue generation. As a passionate YouTuber with 3 active and growing channels, Kolawole shares valuable insight, experiences, and expertise, further establishing himself as a thought leader in his field. Committed to continuous learning and development, Kolawole holds a bachelor's degree in psychology and certifications in logistics, transportation, and digital marketing. He is a member of the prestigious professional bodies such as the Nigerian Institute of Management and Chartered Institute of Transport and Logistics UK, reflecting his dedication to excellence and ongoing professional advancement. Please, with excitement in the chat room, help me welcome Mr. Kolawole Ajayi. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. It's great to be here. Thank you so much for having me again. I want to confirm that you can hear me clearly.
Audibly, sir.
Okay, great. Thank you to everyone that is in this, that is listening and watching. Thank you for making our time. Like I do say from time to time, either you are using your time or you are investing your time. Time is passing. So that you are here, it means that you are intentional, you are deliberate about being here. Either you were forced here or you were coerced to be here, or you decided to be here by yourself. You are here anyway, so let's make good use of the time. Thank you for the organizers for having me join us this evening. It promises to be a good time, and I'm sure that we're going to be impacted by the things we're going to learn. I'll try and make it as pragmatic as possible. I also understand that we've had something close to this yesterday. I'll try and share my screen. I don't know if that will be practicable for me to share my screen so that we can run along as I do that. I'll love that we see. Okay, great. Okay, good. So we're looking at managing conflict and resolving disputes in the family. Can we see my screen, please? Okay. I want to strongly believe we can. And we want to look at emotional intelligence, okay? And I know that quite a number of us are familiar with some of these topics, but we will take this as quickly as possible and we'll make it as pragmatic as possible. So let's look at our content, table of content. We have the introduction. Why do we need to learn this? We'll look at family leadership. We'll look at roles and responsibilities, challenges in the family. We'll look at what conflict is, types of conflict, common sources of conflict. Then we'll go on to emotional intelligence, importance of emotional intelligence, AI skills, emotional intelligence skills we need to learn, conflict resolution. Then we'll go to have a summary, final thoughts, and then we have our Q&A. Okay, so I'll just drive right into it. So why do we need to bother ourselves to doing this? So I think that the first thing is that we need to understand the nature of the conflicts that happen in family and how it impacts on us. If we don't understand the nature of the conflict and how it impacts on us, then we will not be able to make any difference. And when we have a good understanding of what conflict in the family looks like and the impact on us as individuals and members of the family, then we can now go on to look at how will emotional intelligence fit into helping us to resolve these problems. And then if emotional intelligence is helping us to resolve these issues, we now need to acquire relevant skills that are practical, that can help us to resolve the conflicts we have in the family. So basically, there are 3 legs to it. Understand the nature of the conflict. How does emotional intelligence help you solve the problem? Then what are the practical tools in emotional intelligence that you can use to resolve all of these issues? And if we can master those three legs that I've mentioned, then we can have a situation where we can effectively resolve conflicts in the family. And when conflicts in the family are resolved, we can have healthier families and healthier relationships in families. There are a lot of fathers who are not talking to their mothers. There are a lot of mothers who are not talking to there are a lot of fathers who are not talking to their wives. There are a lot of wives who are not talking to their husbands. There are a lot of children who are not talking to their parents. There are a lot of parents who are not talking to their children. We have dysfunctional families. And if we don't resolve those conflicts and have healthier families, it will transfer and it will, translate to what we have in our society today. So we want to have healthier families and want to prevent long-term negative impacts on family dynamics. Family dynamics are changing now these days, and if we don't deal with these issues, it's going to continue to deteriorate, and then we'll have the kind of situation we have all around the world. I think some hours back, we had a 20-year-old trying to kill an aspiring president in a country. Those are the kind of things we have when we have dysfunctional families. And when we all do all of this, we can promote an harmonious family that supports every member of the family. There is no point being a member of the family if that family is not supporting you. So let's look at family leadership. And there are key words to look at. And I won't dwell too much on this because I believe that we must have heard again and again. And I think that we understand what leadership is. Now, family leadership is the process of guiding, influencing, and managing family members to achieve common goals and maintain healthy relationships. Now, there are 2 key things I need us to look at in that part. First of all, is to achieve common goals and maintain healthy relationships. None of us was created to live alone. We are created as social beings to exist in a social environment and to coexist with others. We are supposed to be dependent on people for certain things. People are supposed to be dependent on us for certain things. So we are not created to be totally independent of others. Isolation will never be the plan for creation. We were never created to be isolated. We were created to be part of a family. And now, for us to have leadership, for us to bring in leadership into that family that we have created into, we're supposed to be guided in that family. We're supposed to be influenced in that family. We're supposed to be taught how to manage relationships in that family. But when there is no guidance and there is no influence, then things go way out of place. So that is the role of family leadership, to provide guidance, to influence, and to help family members manage common goals and maintain healthy relationships. And when this is done, we will see that strong family leadership will foster stability, growth, and unity within the family. Now, for different members of the family, they have different roles. The parents and the guardians, their primary responsibility is to be decision makers and providers and role models. Number one, they are supposed to be primary decision makers, providers and role models. And this is where this is critical. A decision maker should be somebody who is knowledgeable, should be someone who has competence, who has capacity to make decisions. And as we go along, we will see why this is failing. Because when the parents, the guardians are failing in their responsibility to take decisions and they are leaving decisions to their children, then there's going to be conflict. When they can't provide for their family, then there's going to be conflict. When they can't be role models for their families, then there's going to be conflict. So parents and guardians have this key responsibility. One, to be decision makers, to be providers, and to be role models. The children are supposed to contribute to the family unit, and their key roles will be to be learners and future leaders. Now, I know these roles will continue to change as we go along, because as you're a child, your role as a child of 10 is going to be different from your role as a child that is 20 years old, that is 25, that is 30, that is 40. But when we say as a learner, you are supposed to be learning from your parents, and you're supposed to also be teaching them at the same time. And that's why I said you are learners and future leaders. So you're supposed to grow from that place where you are learning to becoming a leader. And that is the role of the children. And that is one of the areas where we have conflicts. We have children who are learners, who have refused to grow out of being learners, and who have refused to become leaders. So the normal thing to happen is that a child should grow from being a learner to becoming a leader. But we have children who have grown to become 25, 30, 35, and they are still learning, and they have refused to grow up and become leaders. So they have become a frustration to their parents, and then they have become a frustration to themselves. And there is conflict because the person has grown, but he has not moved into the role that he should have moved into. Then we have the extended family members who are supposed to be supportive, who are supposed to also play supportive roles, advisors and caretakers. And this is critical. And I'll say this is critical. A lot of us are young people, and we are growing, getting married and growing. And we have situations where we need help in our different families and different homes, and we need people to take care of our kids. Growing up, personally, I have 3 kids. My kids were raised where we had support from my mom and my wife's mom when we're raising our kids. So when we have a child, either of them will come around and stay with us. Okay? And those are the roles they play, advisors and caretakers. But we have situations these days where we are not able to tolerate or allow our parents, our mothers, our mother-in-laws to come stay with us, or we have behaved in such a way that we can't even make that request of them. And so we have to transfer the responsibility of caring for our children to caregivers who we don't trust. Okay? And those are the areas where conflicts come from. And as we go along, we'll get to have a grasp of this. And as I speak, I need you to understand and look at this, which part of this relates to you. Okay? I might not be able to touch on your particular issue, but you need to be able to say, oh, what he is saying, how does this relate to me? What do I need to do differently? What do I need to change about myself that can make a difference? Now, what are the challenges of family leadership? Number one of them is balancing work and family life. And this is critical. And I tell you this, I'm dealing with this. For example, my family lives in Ibadan. I work in Lagos. So I go home on weekends. So Monday to Friday, I don't get to see my kids. We talk on phone, we do video calls, but it's not the same thing as when I'm there. I have a 15-year-old who is taller than me. I'm fairly tall and I'm huge, but she's taller than me. And she knows that because of her height, she uses her height to her advantage. When you are talking to her, she will stand in your front, look you in the eye. She won't say anything to you, but she will look you in the eye. And if you are not strong, you'll be scared. So even teachers in school, they are, even though she won't talk to them, she won't say anything to them, she won't take any action. But when you are talking to her, she has that thing that she will stand up, stand in your front, and look you directly in the ear, that it takes courage to stand up. And so, and here is the father who is not at home every day. Okay? So even when she's not copying her note fully, somebody is afraid to tell her in school that, girl, copy your note fully, because they don't want to look her in the eye. They don't want to confront her. So, but here I am, where even if I sneeze and I say, lady, do that, she's going to respond to me very fast. So, but I'm not there every day. So balancing work and family life becomes an issue. And I've had times that I've had to come from Lagos, drive from Lagos in my office to Ibadan to our school, and go to our school and see her without announcing during the week and come back to work. Okay, so we must know that we need to balance work and family life. And that is one of the major challenges of family leadership. We have fathers who are not there every day. We have mothers who are not there every day. We have parents who are afraid to talk to their children. We have children who do not respect their parents. We have children who are 13, 14, who are already millionaires, who are already making a living by themselves. And because of what they're already earning, they don't have recourse to their parents again. Those are issues, those are challenges. Balancing work and family life, it's critical. Managing diverse personalities and expectations. This is also another major challenge. Like I mentioned, I have 3 kids. And the first one, the girl, is just a replica. She's my replica. But I tell you, she's a tough person to deal with. And you have to be strong to deal with her. The second one is just a loving person. She wants to hold you, she wants to cuddle, she wants to gist and all of that. She just wants to be around you. The third one, that is a boy, he doesn't even send anybody. As long as you allow him to play a game or watch TV, is fine on his own. So I'm talking about diverse personalities. And I can't apply the same principles in dealing with all of them. I have to do it differently. And the third one, we have to be addressing conflicts effectively. Most of the time, the 3 of them have conflict. We have conflict. How do we deal with it? Do we use the same principle for the 3 of them? It can't work. So if those conflicts are not addressed effectively, then we're going to have more serious issues. Somebody will begin to feel in his mind or her mind that daddy loves this person more than he loves me. Mommy loves this person more than he loves me, and all of that. And those are the issues that come with leadership in the family. So what is conflict? And I'm sure we probably would have looked at this. A situation where individuals or groups have incompatible goals, interests, or values. And I'm sure we must have gotten different definitions of conflict, but I deliberately picked on this, where we have incompatible goals, incompatible interests, or values. When our goals are not compatible, when our interests are not compatible and our values are not compatible, then we will have serious conflict in the family. And I'm sure in our different families, we've seen this. And I'll take it to something as little as deciding what program to watch on TV. Somebody wants to watch football. Another person wants to watch what do they call it now? Nickelodeon. Somebody wants to watch, another person wants to see Z World. The other person wants to see African Magic. Then, I mean, as little as that, conflict starts from those things. So, types of conflict. We have conflicts that are between siblings and parents, parents and their children. We also have intra-group conflicts within the family group between parents, the mom and the dad. We have role conflicts, and I think that this is probably the most critical of them. We have, where people don't know what their roles are in the family. Roles are not clearly defined, and it can lead to serious issues in the family. So those are 3 basic types of conflict that we can have in the family. Then common sources of conflict. We look at this. This is this is one of the major issues we have in the family, and it requires that we apply emotional intelligence to it. We have disagreement over money management. We have families where there are different approaches to parenting. The father is thinking differently, the mother is thinking differently, the children are thinking differently. Everybody is thinking their own different ways. And then there is no agreed position as to how to do things at home. There is no defined way to manage money in the house, in the family. Everybody does what the spirit leads them to do, and they behave as they are led by their own spirit, whatever that spirit is anyway. And then we begin to have conflict. Then we have unequal distribution of chores in the house. Okay, I think that this is something I would just like to dwell on for a minute or thereabout. When in my home, for example, I noticed something early. When my wife is distributing the chores, she will give the girls a lot of work to do, and she will hardly give anything to the boy to do. And I have to quickly cut that and say, babe, we can't do that. The boy has 2 hands, just like the girls does. Just like the girls do. They have 2 hands each. So we can't say, why can't he wash plates? Why can't he sweep? Why must they do his laundry for him? He's not going to wash with his hands anyway. He's going to put it in the washing machine. So why can't he do those stuff by himself? Why does he need somebody to do that for him? And I have to say, distribution of plates. This person washes plates today. This person does tomorrow, and that way. And the boy must be included. And this conflict arises from this kind of thing. So we see situations where people share chores in the house, and they don't give their male children domestic chores to do, and they begin to create a kind of impression in their heads. And those kind of boys will grow up and get married and assume that it is the role of the woman or the women alone to do domestic chores. And those are the kind of men that will not even help their spouses at home. Okay, and then the conflict comes from the place of their upbringing. There's a conflict between the way they were brought up and their current experience and what they are trying to, what they are seeing in the society. So there is a mismatch. And those are issues that come up in the home, in marriages, and leads to serious conflict. Communication breakdown, misunderstanding, and lack of clear communication, that is a big issue. That's a big issue. Okay, families, we have communication. We can't overemphasize that. So I tried to rush through that because I believe that we must have seen a lot about conflict and family. Then now we've come home to emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is the ability to understand and manage your own emotions and the emotion of others. And I'll try and break it down as simply as I can. Now, as psychologists, we believe that if you have studied somebody's behavior scientifically enough, you should be able to predict the person's behavior. And because you can predict the person's behavior, you should know what stimulus or stimuli you will introduce that will elicit certain behaviors. So when I was in school, in secondary school, there's this thing you would do. We know certain people who are very, very bad, high temper and all of that. So we know what to do to get them angry. We just say, yeah, go and ignite him, go and push him, go and push his button. And when you push the button, those individuals will respond just the way we expect them to respond. And that is the way behavior works. There are certain stimulus or stimuli that elicit certain behaviors. And now, if you have a good understanding of those behavior, of those stimulus or stimuli or those behaviors, you can predict behavior. And because you can predict behavior, you can then, I don't want to use the word manipulate, then you can decide what behavior you want to see. And that is emotional intelligence. You must be able to recognize, understand, and manage your own emotions, first of all. And then recognize, understand, and manage the emotions of others. And when you come to that place, and I say this often, that people who are emotionally intelligent, if they don't have God's mind, they can be manipulative. They can be manipulative. Even in the environment where I work, some of my senior colleagues would rather like that I'm the one that will present certain things for approval to the executive management rather than go by themselves. because I understand how to present my case such that I don't get refused. And I understand what I should present so that I don't get refused. I hope we understand what I'm saying. Because when you understand people's emotions very well, you will know when to do what and how to do it such that you get the right response. And that is why emotional intelligence is critical to, is very, very critical to resolving conflict in the family. To resolving conflict in the family. You should know when to speak and when not to speak. You should know what to say and what not to say. You should know the things that some of your children have discussed with you in private and never to make reference to them in public. You should know that if one of your children have spoken to you about something, you should never share, and the person wants to be confidential, you should not share it with the other kids. Even though we're a family, but we are individuals in that family. And all of those things come with emotional intelligence as we see them, as we go along. So when we have fathers, mothers, and children that are emotionally intelligent, we will have better relationships in the home. I hardly have conflict with any of my siblings. Hardly. I can't remember ever having conflict with any of them. I can't remember it happening. Because I understand their individuality and I deal with them as individuals. And that is what has helped me. So if we have a family and a highly intelligent family, a family that is emotionally intelligent, there will be less conflict, and then we'll have good leadership in such homes. And this comes from the fathers and mothers most of the time. So we have components of emotional intelligence: self-awareness, self-regulation, motivation, empathy, and social skills. Basically, self-awareness is where it starts from. A father, a mother must recognize and understand their own emotions. You must recognize and understand your own emotions. You must not come to a point where you will take actions and you will say, I don't know why I did what I did. It's not acceptable. A father, a mother, you must be in charge of your emotions. You must never get to a point where you lose your emotion, where you get angry and you take actions and you begin to regret your actions. That is self-awareness. You must be so self-aware that you recognize, you understand your own emotions, you know your own emotions. You can define your emotions. And there's a simple thing you can do, even right now. If you're a father, you're a mother, even if you're a child, you can take a biro and journal your emotions. What are the emotions I have felt over the last 24 hours? And begin to give them names. Have I felt anger? Have I felt annoyance? Have I felt irritated? List out the emotions. You must be able to define those emotions. So in all of your relationship, a lot of the actions and interactions with your family over the last 24 hours, what are the emotions you have displayed? You must know them. You must be self-aware. If you are not self-aware as a father, as a mother, there is no way you can help your children to be self-aware. And I was speaking earlier today in church, and I said, it is impossible for somebody to look at me and tell me that I'm a woman. I am not a woman, I'm a man. So you cannot convince me that I am a woman, no matter what you do. And that is how convinced a father and a mother should be about the person that they are. That is how they convince they should be about the person that they are. You must know yourself so much that no matter whatever anybody tells you that is not who you are, you must be able to tell them with so much confidence and assurance that that is not the person that I am. That is you are so self-aware and so confident in the person that you are that you can say it anywhere. Self-regulation, you must be able to manage your emotions in healthy ways. And self-regulation is that you must have principles that guide what you will do and what you will never do. You must be able to say that these are the things I will never do. No matter how angry I get, I will never hit my wife. No matter how angry I get, I will never slap my wife. No matter how angry I am, I will never refuse to eat at home. No matter how angry I am, I will not sleep outside of my house. Self-regulation. You must set principles that regulate your emotions. And you must have them that guides you. And you must be disciplined enough to follow on those principles. And the third one is motivation. You must be driven to achieve goals. And you must ask yourself, what are the goals that I've set for myself to achieve? And these are areas where we fail. And that is why a father, a mother that does not have a defined goal for the year, how does he convince his children to have goals? So when the children come and say, these are my goals and my plans for the year, he doesn't understand what they are saying. So there is a conflict already. And that is why when money comes to the house, they don't know what to do with the money because there is no plan, there is no goal. So our goal as a family, we have agreed that our goal for this year is that we will build a new house. And it will start with buying land. It will start with getting approval for construction. It will start with laying the foundation to do this. So when there is an inflow of money, 20 million naira, no, there's no conflict about what you're going to do with that money because there is a defined goal. There is a defined goal, a defined plan as to what we want to do. Okay? And that happens in family because there is no goal, there is no motivation towards specific accomplishments. And when there are no motivations, then resources are mismanaged, then there is conflict here and there. So every family, you must have goals that are joint goals that you have defined apart from your individual goals. And that must be communicated to everybody, a member of the family, such that when there are resources, you apply it, you are motivated towards it, you are driven towards it, and that is what everybody is focused on. Empathy. This is also critical. Empathy is saying, I understand what you feel. I'm putting myself in your shoes. And just to put it right, I just need to understand this. It might not exactly be the way I'm saying it, but try and understand what I'm saying. It's more like making an excuse for somebody because you are in that person's shoe. But you are not communicating that excuse to that person. You must not communicate that, but making an excuse for that person. And I'll share a little experience. So in one of the places where I've worshipped, we had complaints about a member of our church that used to come late. And we were like, this person doesn't live far from church. So why does she come late every time? So we just said, this day we got to church and this person was late. And we said, okay, let us go to her house so that we can go and wake her up. And we got to her house and we found out that she lives in a house where there are a lot of people. It's more like a compound kind of house. And that day, that month, there was a queue to use the bathroom. There was a queue to use the bathroom. And she was on that queue, waiting her turn to take her bath so that she can come to church. So all the energy we were carrying, to go and attack her for coming late, everything just calmed down. Everything just calmed down because we saw from this person's perspective. And there are times in the family where we are not seeing from our children's perspective, where we are not seeing, so your parents are saying this, and that is why I said earlier that it is extremely important that parents are self-aware, that they know who they are. And beyond that, and we'll get to that, we'll get to the other part, that they must acquire knowledge. The way you did things in 1981, 1980, 1978, 1985 is different from the way things are being done today. So even when you have good intentions for your children, you must understand where they are coming from. So when your child is telling you that I don't want to go to university, I want to go and become a fashion designer, You must not just get angry and lose it and say, lie, are you all right? No, you must help that child to channel. You must put yourself in the place and say, what did this boy see that says he wants to become a fashion designer? How do I put myself in the place of this child such that instead of fighting this child, instead of getting into a conflict with this child, I align this child with our family values, and then we have no conflict. And again, we have social skills. Managing relationships, some people don't have social skills, some people do. Some people are introverts, some people are extroverts, and all of those things. But critically, there are things that are called standards, and we must have those standards, and they must operate in our families and in our environments. There is a way you can dress. There is a way you cannot dress. Hallelujah. I was almost going to say hallelujah. Amen. Okay, permission that comes through once in a while. Okay, so there is a way we dress in this family, and we're going to get to all of that as we go along. And there is a way you cannot dress in this family. There is a way we talk in this family. There's a way you cannot talk in this family. In this family, we are royals. We talk like royalty. In this family, we are royals. We dress like royalty. In this family, we are royals. We behave like royalty. And these principles are kept by every member of the family. So when we're talking about social skills, we must have a collective way that we communicate that in the family. So emotional intelligence is important in the family because it improves communication. It takes away all of the stress. So from what I've said, you will see that if the leaders in the home are emotionally intelligent, then we'll have less conflict in the home. Then problems will be solved easily. Then everybody will be more understanding, and then we have a very, very healthy family environment. And from my definition from the beginning, you will understand that the leaders in the family, or the leader in the family is not just the father and the mother. Everybody in the family is a leader because the child is learning to become a leader. So you are growing and you are breeding, you are nurturing a leader. So there are critical emotional intelligence skills that we must learn as individuals. The first of them is active listening. And I think that this one is a major one. Parents don't listen, children don't listen. And there is this thing that I do say, that the person that you are is so loud that I cannot hear what you are saying. The person that you are is so loud that I cannot hear what you are saying. Most of the time, we can hear what our children are saying to us. We can hear what our parents are saying to us, but we are not listening to them. Because they are not just communicating with words. Most part of communication is done using psycholinguistics. That's using non-verbal communication. So when you are listening to someone, you are not just hearing the words, you are looking at their facial expression. You are trying to listen to the modulations in their voice. You are trying to look at their body posture. All of those things come with listening. So you must listen and understand what they are saying. A child can be telling you that I want bread, and what that child wants is not bread, he wants cake. A child can be telling you that I am not hungry, and yet that child is hungry. So when our children are communicating to us, we are not just listening to the words, we are listening actively. Not that your child wants to talk to you. That is when you have your phone and it's distracting you, your TV is distracting you. No, you must show that that child is important enough for you to give all of your attention to him or her. Same way when your parents are talking to you, you must know that they are important enough for you to leave every other thing and focus on that communication. And if you are actually listening actively, you will ask questions. So every time your child talks to you, you must paraphrase what they have said. You should, not must, you should paraphrase what they have said and how you understand it, and let them confirm that that is what they actually mean. When you paraphrase what somebody has said and you say it in your own words, the person gets the impression that you have listened to them and you understand what they have said. And then you now ask open-ended questions that allows them to express their opinion. And you give feedback that gives them the impression that you listen to what they've said and you understand it. Most of the time, when people talk to us, we don't understand what they have said. And the actions that we take thereafter clearly shows that we don't understand or we didn't understand them. And that's why when they speak to us, when there's communication in the family, paraphrase what has been said and confirm that that is what is meant. Paraphrase how your understanding of what has been said. Ask questions to be sure. Then non-violent communication. This is critical. This process was developed by Marshall Rosenberg. When you are communicating in the family as leaders to your children or as leaders' children to your parents, you must observe and state what you hear without judgment. So what happens in families is that maybe mommy has reported to daddy, or somebody has reported to somebody, and then a father will call the child or call the mother and say, this is what your brother said, this is what your sister said, or this is what I heard. And they'll say, I am totally disappointed in you. How could you have done this? They've not even allowed you to talk. They've not asked for what happened. They've not asked for your opinion. You've not been able to state your case, and they're already disappointed in you. You are disappointed. That's the end of it now. Since you're already disappointed in me, why should I bother myself trying to explain anything to you? State what you see or hear without judgment. State objectively what you have seen, what you have heard, without judgment. Express it objectively. Don't add to it, don't take from it. Be objective about it. Express your feelings as relates to what you have observed. Now, so, okay, I saw you that you were giving your breakfast and you threw your breakfast into the waste bin. Was that what happened? Then the child responds and says, oh, this is what happened, and states exactly what happened. Oh, yes, my breakfast was given to me. But when I wanted to start eating, I noticed that a fly had died on the plate of food. And I cannot eat food that has a dead fly in it because it might lead to me becoming sick. And then that sickness I can transfer to a member of the family. And that was why I threw the plate of food away. That same discussion that I just described now can start with, what kind of child are you? Do you know how much we spend on food in this house? How will you have to throw food away? You are an ungrateful child. We gave you food and you threw it away. But look at the way it went, because the communication was non-violent. And when we say non-violent communication, it doesn't mean that you are cutting the person's head with a stick or something. It comes with the tone of your voice. Some parents, some of us, the way we talk, the tone of our voice can slice through ice. The coldness of our voice can slice through ice. Is more violent than cutlass. And so when we have the right information and we have said it correctly, we must express our feelings. Oh, I am grateful. I'm thankful to you. I appreciate that you did the right thing, or you shouldn't have done this. This is what I think. State the needs connected to your feelings. And of course, make a clear and specific request for action. So I'm saying, oh, I understand that the food had a dead fly in it. And I wouldn't expect you to eat food that has a dead fly because I love you too much. I don't want you to be sick. But at the same time, you are not the one that prepared the food and you are not the one that served it. So before throwing the food away, it would have been better if you had communicated to your mom or to your elder sister or to the maid that this is what has happened to my food. And for this reason, I will throw it away. If you had spoken to them that way, they wouldn't have a wrong impression of what has happened. So because of this, I am requesting you to please go and speak to your mom or to your sister and explain to them why you threw the food away. And that solves all the problem. That is non-violent communication. And this, one of the things that non-violent communication does for you is that it helps your children to be assertive. We have a lot of children that have low self-esteem. A lot of children that can't hold their own. They are not assertive. So if you keep badgering your children, you keep beating them down with words, keep hitting on them with words, keep abusing them, it will get to a point that their self-esteem will be diminished and they will not be assertive. And if they are not assertive, it's going to cause conflict because they will go outside, people will abuse them again. They will come at home. One day, you will shout at them and they will shout back at you. And this is one of the reasons we have conflict in the home. Because the child has to have a way of expressing their anger and their frustrations. So, eventually it will come back to you. So, assertiveness is critical. You must be able to express your thoughts and state what you want. You must let your children own up and use the word I as much as possible in the home. And one of the things that assertiveness does is that it helps children to take responsibility for their actions. It helps them to take responsibility for their actions. The child is saying, I am sorry, mommy. I'm sorry, daddy. I broke the glass. I didn't mean to break it, but I'm sorry I did. The I statement is critical to use for growing children. It helps to build their confidence. It helps them to be responsible. And of course, you teach them to maintain eye contact and practice active listening. These are things that reduces conflict in the home. It reduces what? Conflict in the home. So when there is something to be done, everybody is able to own up to their responsibility in the house. Also, we have empathy we are looking at emotional intelligence skills that can help in conflict management in the house. Empathy in communication. And I already spoke about this. When you look from the perspective of others, you are able to resolve conflicts better and you have less conflict. And we've spoken about active listening, how you validate your feelings and all of that. Okay? So, how do you resolve conflict in the house, in the family? Number one, identify the root cause of the conflict. Identify what? The root cause of the conflict. When you have accurately identified the cause of the problem, you are close to the solution. See, I know this because I have kids. Children can be manipulative. They know what they want to get, so they know what they communicate to the mother and what they communicate to the father and what they communicate to their siblings because of what they want to get. So when you are trying to resolve conflicts, you want to get to the root cause. And in getting to the root cause, lay everything bare and open. Don't assume you know what the problem is. Gather all the relevant information. Don't assume you know. Don't assume you know. Don't assume that you know. Don't assume that you know. Gather all the relevant information. Get to the root cause of the issue. That is the first thing. Identify what the problem is. Identify what the problem is. I've had cause to work with a child that was having serious issues with her father at home. Serious issues with her father at home. And it was affecting the child's performance in school. And they couldn't figure out why that performance would just go negative the way it went. And because of my competence, I was asked to come into that situation and I found out things. So much that we had to remove the child from the home. Get to the root cause. Get to the root cause. When you find out what is the cause of the conflict, you will solve the problem. When you find the source of the conflict, you will solve the problem. But most of the time, because we are not emotionally intelligent, we are driven by our emotions, we are angry, we are frustrated, we shout, we make noise, and we react without even knowing what the problem is. So when we start shouting and start expressing all of those things, in the mind of the child is like, you don't even know what the problem is and you are shouting. You don't even know what the issue is and you are shouting. Let's try and find out what is the cause of the conflict. Don't assume you know. Find out the cause. Now, when you find out the cause of the conflict, you go ahead and use some of the things we talk about to sort it out. Now, the other thing you will need to do to avoid conflict is to set ground rules. And I was talking about this when we're talking around dress, when I was talking about social issues earlier. This is the time we stop watching TV in this house. Irrespective of who, see, when I wanted to set those rules in my own house, I considered Champions League timing. Champions League starts around 8:35, 8:45. They will finish around 10:45. So when I was setting the rule, but I know that the rules will apply to me. So I considered it like, because I can't be the one to break the rules. So, and I convinced everybody, we must have ground rules. Anybody that goes out in this house must come back before 8 p.m. We don't do late nights. If you are going to do something, you must inform everybody. We must have ground rules. And those ground rules must apply to everybody in the house. In this house, we don't wear clothes that reveals our body. All our skirts must get to the knee. All our dress must cover our tummy. I'm not setting rules. I'm just mentioning that you must set ground rules. In this family, we've all agreed, everybody at the minimum must get a first degree. In this family, if you are going to do this or do that, you will discuss it with us. And because you have discussed with us, we will all support you. Let there be ground rules. Ensure that there are ground rules in your home. If there are ground rules, there will be less conflict. Everybody will know what to do and what not to do. And they will fall in line. And when there are reasons to deviate, you must have productive discussions. Okay? So these rules will apply. So you have to set your own rules. I call this brainstorming solutions. In my own family, as young as we are, we have what we call family meeting, where we sit down, my wife and my kids, and we are brainstorming solutions. Okay, your mathematics is not good enough. What do you think we can do how can we help you to get better? And everybody will start preferring solutions. We don't go to that meeting to judge. We are not judging anybody. We are saying this is a challenge, and you have admitted that it's a challenge. How can we help you be part of your solution? And that is what brainstorming solutions, that is what it is. That is what it is. So when there is a conflict in the home, the father, the mother, the children, everybody involved, we all sit together and say, this is an issue. We are open about it. We have an issue. How do we deal with this issue? What solutions do we prefer? Not backbiting, not talking behind someone, talking. Everybody comes together and we do it as a family. And then everybody can come up with their own ideas. And for parents, don't think that your children don't know. Let's listen to everybody. And then we decide on what solution to pick. the solution that is acceptable to almost everybody, member of the family. After we have looked at the long-term effect of that solution, we look at the pros and the cons of that solution. Can we afford that solution right now? Is it within our reach? Should we do it? And all of us agree, and we do it. And that is the way, that's the way we deal with that. Wow. We've been on for almost 1 hour. So implementing and monitoring solutions. So after you have identified what the problem is, and you have had a family brainstorming session, you come up with an action plan. So this thing you might not call them the names that I call them. Like I said, in my own family, I call it family meeting. But that is where we discuss issues. That is where we agree on action plans. We look at things that are not working, things that are causing conflict. Okay? Things that are causing conflict. And we discuss it to the minutest of issues as to who is always making us go late to school, always making mommy shout at us, who's always making daddy get angry. And we assign everybody's responsibility to them, and then everybody takes it off there. So you develop an action plan, and we assign responsibilities, and we set timelines. Everybody now knows what to do. And we start checking on ourselves. So we do this every month. We check on progress. How are you doing? Okay? And I do this with my siblings as well. I do this with my siblings. What project are you working on? How far have you gone with it? And all of that. Where can we support? These things are critical. So whatever action plan you have agreed at your family meeting, you assign responsibilities. So that is some emotional intelligence issues. Now, I want us to look at a few case studies. I don't know if we can speak. I don't know if we can communicate. I just want us to, I would like to take two different conflict situations in families, and I want us to look at I want us to look at them pragmatically, how we can, and deal with those issues one after the other, two of them. Maybe it's comment section. I don't know how we'll do that, but I would like us to look at least two conflict issues two different conflict issues, and then we can use them to, we can use some of the things we talked about to resolve those issues, and then we go forward from there. Moderator, I don't know, can we speak, or do we have to type that in the comment section, in the chat room?
That can be typed, sir.
Okay, so please, I want two conflict situations that applied from two different families, two conflict situations. I can give us scenarios, but I'd rather have from us. Okay. Oh, sorry, someone said the network is erratic. Well, that was a long time ago. Maybe that's just confirmation that you are in Nigeria. Okay. Do we have anyone that wants to share one with us? We want to have just two different conflict situations in families, two different conflict situations. Okay. If someone says conflict from a broken home where father and mother have been separated. Okay. Okay. Okay, so that sounds like a real conflict, but it's a lot generic. If we can have specifics. Okay, so we have one where the husband completely stops talking to his wife for some reason. No, so I think that's a conflict. Seriously, I've not experienced that before. So my own is that instead of me to talk, I can't stop. If I agree that we will not stop, we will not break communication no matter what happens. Okay, so maybe those are like ground rules we set for ourselves, for my family, for example, when we're going to get married, that no matter how much fight we have or quarrel, you cannot refuse to eat. You must refuse to eat. And the second rule is that if either of us demands intercourse, you cannot refuse the person. So, okay, so let's deal with the husband. So the first thing is that we need to get to the root of this issue. That's the first thing we said. What is the cause of that? Why did the man and why did they stop talking? So we must get to the root of that. And one of the things that I've seen is that, and I'm sure that probably all of us know this issue is always with men. Men, because of their ego, they don't like to share their challenges or their failures. They like to share their success. So when a man shares his success, his failures, and you use that information of his failure against him, that is one of the main reasons why men stop talking. So you just see the man go silent. So the first thing we want to do to know is, why did the man stop talking to his wife? What is the reason? What is the cause? If we don't know the cause, we can't solve that problem. We can give excuses, we can explain here and there, but we must know what is the cause, what is the reason. And that reason will require that you interview the husband, you interview the wife. Okay? I was sharing with a friend of mine, was asking me, like, she called me and said, he's a younger friend, and said, oh, that her partner, that he noticed that he has been withdrawn lately and he doesn't talk, that she now spoke with another, and the friend said that that's the way men are. When they are going through things in their life, they withdraw. So I said, okay, that is true. But let us agree and assume that he's actually going through things. But send him a message and say, I don't know what you are going through, but whatever it is you are going through, I want you to be assured that I am with you and that you can always talk to me. I trust your ability to solve this, to deal with those issues, but I will also be available to support you. And she sent that message to him. And you know what reply she got? She got a reply saying that you are actually the problem. You are the reason I am not talking to you. She was surprised. She was surprised. She was surprised, like, what did I do? And he said, you lent me some money. And despite that, you know that I was not buoyant enough. You asked for a refund. That was why I was angry. So even though she had gone for she had thought the problem was something different, and she was looking for a different solution, she would have gotten it wrong outrightly. But because she communicated, she found out what the problem is, and she apologized. So the first thing is, what is the cause of the conflict? When we have found out what the problem is, then we can find a solution to it. Financially, the younger one needs money to learn a skill, but feels the other should not know who the trainer is, and disagreement sets in. Okay, so if I'm going to pay for your training, I need to know who you are training with. Okay, so the first question I want to know is, why don't you want me to know the person you're going to be training with? Why don't you? And again, if I'm questioning you, it's going to be a function of, have you done things in the past that will make me question your decision and your choices? Do I trust you enough that you can make those choices and make them correctly? That's critical. So it will still come back to, why don't you want me to know who the trainer is? Why do you want to keep it as a secret from me? Okay, so it starts with that, identifying the problem. And that's why for this kind of situation, you will need to be talking to the person that is in that situation for you to be able to solve the problem. Because you can just assume that the problem is this or that, and get 1 million solutions, whereas you are not right. Okay, so the husband not talking to the wife, we need to know why. And it's from knowing why that we can provide a solution. The brother and the younger one, we need to know why they don't want to keep those information open. And then we can find out what the issue is. Okay, a father that stops financing his child's education because the child has changed his course of study. Okay, that's an interesting one. So, that's a tough one. So one of the things that I know, and I might not have the accurately correct answer, is that what stops me from doing the course that you want me to do, and then maybe in National Open University, I'm doing another course on the side. Or if I cannot afford it, and I know you have to pay, what stops me from doing the course you want me to do, and I finish it, and I go and do the course I want to do? Okay, that's one way. But I think my preferred solution would be, and I always say this, and I think I said it in one of the videos I did on my YouTube account recently, that you must identify critical influencers in the life of everyone you relate with. Your father, who is your father accountable to? Who is your mother accountable to? Who are your parents accountable to? Who are people that they reference and they value that can talk to them? And that same way, you must have such individuals in your life. So what I will advise in that kind of situation is that you take the issue up to the persons that they are accountable to, and you convince those persons that this is what you want to do with good reasons. And you must be convincing so that they can help you convince your parents. So they can help you convince your parents. So, and that is where good behavior is important, because if you have been behaving well to your parents and to the people that they are accountable to, it will be easier for them to speak for you to your parents. So like I said, I might not have all the answers to that question, because those are serious, deep questions. We have to ask questions. What kind of relationship do you have with the father? What course is it that you want to go and study? What is the prospect of that course to you and to your parents? Sometimes the reason we are going to study one course is because our friend is studying that course, or because we think that something is trending, and your parents can actually be seen tomorrow better than you are seeing it. So there are a lot of issues around that. So it's not straightforward, but you need to see, it's something that you probably require counseling with you and your parents and your dad. And that's why, again, I will advise that everyone should have a mentor. Sometimes some of these questions, those of these issues can be better dealt with when you bring your mentor in to speak on your behalf. And sometimes you think that thing you want is better than what your parents want. But sometimes what they want is better than what you actually want for yourself. And you would find out later that you were going to make a mistake if they had not corrected you. Okay? Okay, so I think that's for case studies. We looked at a few of them. So let's go back to our presentation so that I can quickly round up. So things to try out. And I do this in the house. We do role playing. Try role playing out in your home. Just play with your dad, play with your mom. Just say, Daddy, let's play today for the next 3 hours. Let's just play that. Let us assume that you are the child, I am your father. Or for the next 30 minutes. Let us reverse roles in the house and do role playing. And let's see how our parents will take it. Let's see how we as parents will take what the things that our children will do. So do role playing. And it communicates a lot when you do role playing in the house. It communicates a lot because it helps every other person to feel what the other person would used to feel when they are in their normal role. Explore some EI assessment tools to measure your own emotional intelligence, and there are a lot of them online. So just go to Google online emotional intelligence assessment tools and all of that. Practice communication skills. Practice listening skills. Sometimes when people are talking and your stomach is jumping like you should talk, try and keep quiet. Force yourself to keep quiet and just listen. And one of the best ways to do it is when people are talking to you, take a biro and a paper, even in the home, in the family, and take notes. Because they are talking faster than you can write, you have to tell them to wait. So, what did you say there? Can you take it again? or sometimes you have to repeat what they have said, paraphrase it, so that you are sure you have a good understanding of what they are saying, and write it down. So practice communication skills. Those are things you can do in terms of emotional intelligence that can help you to be better. So in summary, emotional intelligence is important to the family, to resolving conflict. Based on the nature of the conflict in your family, you must have conflict resolution strategies, and know your family and the communication tools that work. The things that I've said will apply to us differently because our families differs. The nature of conflict in your family will be different from the nature of conflict in my own family, because how you will resolve conflict in your family is different from how you resolve conflict in my family. Some fathers, they can't sit down with you to discuss because you are too small for them. The way you will deal with their issue will be different from the way you deal with a father who is accommodating for all. So that is what we have looked at. And my final thoughts to you will be to encourage everyone to apply the tools, all the things we have learned in interacting in our family, and be reminded of the benefits of conflict management in our family. And as we do that, things will turn out well for every one of us. Thank you very much for your time. We'll take questions and answers if we have any now.
Thank you so much, sir. This has been an in-depth one. Thank you. All right, guys, we've come to the end of this session. But if you've got questions, please ask your questions now, both on YouTube, those on YouTube and those on Zoom. Thank you so much, sir. It's been, and when Effort posted that life scenario, I was like, oh my God, that's true. How do I address this kind of situation? These are life issues, real issues that we need emotional intelligence. But what I would just advise everyone, please go back and listen to this again and ask yourself, how do you activate this? How do you practicalize these things that we have just learned? If there is any you're not doing, you can also try to imbibe it. Great session. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Robust class. Great. Thank you, sir. I'm reading the comment section. Thank you, sir. Please, if you've got questions, let your question come now. Let your question come now so that we can ask the question. And if there's no question, then I might just need to release him so that we can be excused. So that is really awesome. And I'm glad that you're able to address some practical issues and give us some steps, things that we need to do. Yes, you call it a family meeting, your own. I call it heart-to-heart talk with my wife. we started that even before I gave birth. So, okay, you know what, we're going to have heart-to-heart talk. And this heart-to-heart talk is not just when you're angry, when we have something to solve or an issue to resolve. No, we have it regularly. So yeah, I agree. So these practical examples that you have given, they are really good. Okay, so someone is asking a question. So if the family distance is a long one, where you cannot travel every weekend, how will you manage such, considering a new marriage in mind?
Okay. That's a tough question. So, and I'll be very, very blunt. If you are just newly married, I wouldn't advise that you live apart. That you keep a long distance from yourself. Except you can't help it, I won't advise it. There's a lot to marriage there's a lot to discover about yourselves that if you stay apart, you will not be able to discover. I mean, I can't forget this. After I got married, I think the first shocker of my life that I got was that my wife served me swallow food and brought stew. And I was like, and I was waiting for the soup. So I waited and waited. I said, like, wouldn't you give me soup to eat? I said, that's the soup. I said, like, excuse me. So if we were living apart, probably that would go on for a year and I won't find out that there's actually, you can actually swallow with stew. I never knew all of my life. And I was probably over 30 years old, almost 30 years old then. And I didn't know. So I'm just saying that's something that is almost insignificant, as little as that. you won't discover about yourselves if you stay apart. So I don't advise that you stay apart. But if you are staying apart, you have to find ways to communicate. And I don't know if I can be very practical with you. A man, the way a man's body is structured is very much the way a woman's physiology is structured. A man's physiology, either as long as he's alive, his body is generating certain enzymes, generating sperm on a daily basis. If he doesn't have a means of getting it out, he's more exposed to getting aroused faster. So the kind of temptation that wouldn't even mean anything to him, start appealing to him. Okay, and you are just newly married, so that just exposes both of you to unnecessary issues. I don't advise, but if you are apart and you have to deal with it, do video calls, exchange communications. See, when I was working outside of Nigeria, I was working in Liberia. My wife was in Nigeria. I was traveling. I would travel to Nigeria every month, come and spend 1 week. The next month, my wife will come to Liberia, come and spend 1 week. I don't lie to myself. So we were seeing each other 1 week. I'll be in Nigeria. This month I'm in Nigeria 1 week. The next month she's coming over to spend 1 week with me. And it cost me a lot in terms financially, but I know how to do it. So you need to find a way to manage that. That's extremely important.
All right, thank you, sir. Somebody, people are laughing on YouTube because of what you said about the EBA. Somebody said we eat swallow with beans. So I think I'm just also getting to know that eat swallow with beans. Okay.
No, I think that person was just joking. You can't be serious.
Well, you can never say communication is key. Okay, so there's a question here on Zoom. So how can a father who has been absent in the family because of work just go back and wants to start calling the shots in the family like he has always been there? Wow.
You can't do that. Because if you are taking me on a journey, we must have jointly agreed where you are taking me to. And that is why it's easy for me to follow you. It's like 5 of us now, we are in the house and say, oh, all of us want to go and spend some time together at Obudu Cattle Ranch. We will drive from Lagos, from Ibadan, we'll drive to Lagos. We'll take a flight from Lagos to Calabar. And from Calabar, we'll get a bus ride to Obudu. So when we get into the car in Ibadan and we start driving towards Lagos, nobody's going to ask any question. When we get to Lagos and we board the plane going to Calabar, nobody's going to ask any question. When we get to Calabar and we take a bus going to the ranch, nobody's going to ask any question because all of us agree we were going to, and we set on that journey together. But we can't take off from Lagos, and you now take off from Ibadan, we now get to Calabar, and you now just join us and say, okay, people, we are not going to the ranch again. Let's go to Ogbeni. From where to where? That's the question, from where to where? So you cannot do that. And that is the responsibility of that father. You have your place in that family and you can come back into that family, but you cannot come in and start calling the shots. No. You have to build trust. You have to come into that family like you are coming in from the beginning. We must trust your judgment that you are not going to crash the car. The reason we allowed this person to drive us is because we've seen him drive us a number of times and we trust his driving skills. You that you are just coming, we don't even know if you are drunk or if you are on drugs. You don't want to come and start driving us. You go and drive us inside Third Mainland Bridge. No, it won't happen. So you can come back into your place as a father, but you must first of all win the trust of that family before you can start calling any shots. And it comes from little things. Little things you have to do.
Thank you so much, sir. Effort, that's a profound question you've asked. If need be, I may advise that you seek an advisor or a mentor for that. And if you want to reach out to Mr. Ajayi, I will ask for his permission if that's a scenario that you're going through, because it's a real life issue. And
it's a real life issue. I will advise that, more importantly, the person that needs to be talked to is the father. Yeah.
All right, sir. All right, so I'm just going to ask two more questions that I can see here. Somebody said, is in a situation where you try to always be open as a husband and try to talk things out with your wife, always instead of acting up the way a lot of men will do, but your wife feels you talk too much. How do you go about addressing issues of conflict in your home?
Okay. Yeah, so what this is real life, and I think I mentioned something close to this earlier. The way a traditional man is that he doesn't speak about his challenges. He doesn't speak. The only thing he communicates is his success, because that is what promotes his ego. Any other thing doesn't promote his ego, so he keeps quiet about. That is the way a traditional man is. Now, that is the way most fathers brought up their girls. So the women, a lot of ladies saw their father grow up like that. So that is the definition of their right behavior of a man. So when they marry a man who is not traditional, who is a proper, I don't want to say proper, who is who is a communicating husband, who doesn't allow his ego to cover him and who communicates that way, they think the man is talking too much. Wouldn't you rather have a husband that talks more than have a husband that doesn't talk at all? So in that kind of situation, you also need to now understand, where is the wife coming from? You need to look at her upbringing, her family upbringing, her experiences that she has had in life, previous relationships. All of those things can be the reason why she's doing that. And you both will probably need to. So I do say something that there are some, if you jump into certain ponds, you can come out by yourself. But there are certain situations where you jump into, you can't come out alone. You have to come out with, you need somebody to help you come out. And when it comes to couple issues, most of the time, you will need to be in it together. So I don't think that most of the time it's a situation where both of you will need to be counseled together, so that the wife can see what the husband, what she's not seeing. And who knows, maybe the husband is even talking too much, true. Who knows? We don't know, we are not there. Maybe the husband talks when other people are around. Who knows? We don't know. So there's a need to sit the wife down to know, why are you saying this? Where is this coming from? Let us understand it. Maybe there's even somebody who is a role model of the wife, and the person doesn't talk that much, and that's the person the woman is using to compare, to benchmark her husband. So there's a lot. So we need to ask the woman a question, ask her questions, and understand where she's coming from. And that's because there will be a lot of conflict in that kind of house. I can tell you, there'll be a lot of conflict. So there's need to ask questions so that we can resolve those conflicts.
Thank you so much, sir. Before I ask Kenny's question, Kenny, I will ask you a question as the last one. There is, Kester is, I think it's responding to something you must have said earlier. You say very wonderful, sir, but there are some women that talk much. It's actually a problem for me. Guess that's the reason I'm still single.
Okay.
So he's asking, how can he address that? He said, I'm still single. How can I do this, sir?
Okay, so I don't think that that's the reason you are still single. I think that you have not found somebody that matches you. That's why you are single. Still single. Okay, so when you find somebody that matches you correctly, you won't be single. You won't be single again. See, we are a few billions in this world, and all of us are just different kind of people. Okay, I talk a lot, but some people see me and say I'm quiet. I'm just wondering, like, hey, you don't know nothing. Because I've not spoken. Because when I'm not when I'm not with my people that I can freely talk, I just sit down in one corner. I'm just like one silent person. But when I'm with my people and I am very, very spontaneous, see, you give me one like this, I'll give you bath boost. Give me bath boost, I will return it for you. I'm spontaneous. But if you don't encounter me, you wouldn't know. Okay? So there are people with different, so you will find somebody that matches you that is like you, and not all women talk. There are men that are talkative too. So I don't think it's a woman. I think it's an individual thing. You will find one that matches you. There are very reserved, introverted women, a lot of them. And they are beautiful too. You have them tall, you have them short, you have them fat, you have them slim, you have them yellow, you have them black, you have them brown, you have them white. So you find one that matches you, I can assure you. Just keep looking, keep your eyes open, and pray too.
Thank you so much, Sir Kester. Who knows, maybe you might find one during this LIC training. All right, so I want to ask this question as the last question, sir. Kenny has a question that will need your attention. So where do you place the role of a third party, like a pastor or a counselor, in a family conflict resolution?
Okay, so what I will be expressing in answering this question are strictly my personal opinion, and you might not agree with me. I am one of the people, I believe that every family should have a marriage or family mentor. You know, there's this principle, they said, don't bring a third party into your family. I believe by principle that every marriage should have a marriage mentor. A family that is either most likely older than you, that you appreciate, that you reference, and you can say, oh, I want my family to be like this family, and you submit to them in different ways, and you seek counsel and advice from them, and you both submit to them. That's my personal belief. Okay? I think that one of the major reasons why we have a lot of breakdown in families and in marriages is because this third party thing is missing, such that issues that they could have taken to those people and seek counsel about and have resolved, they didn't take to them because they didn't want to take it to a third party, because we've advised that people should not go to third parties. And that way they left those issues until those issues became very, very serious issues that will now lead to separation and divorce. So first of all, I think that that's my personal opinion. I also think that as individuals, we must seek out people and seek mentorship. So your mentor doesn't need to be a pastor. And these things impact our lives in different ways. And I said something earlier today, where I spoke earlier today, and I said, I improved on making content for my Facebook page. And my mentor is not in Nigeria, he's in Canada. And he just sent me a message, call me as soon as you can. And I quickly called him as I saw that message. And he said, I've seen the videos you are putting on Facebook. The content is good, but your audio is not good enough. How much will it cost to get a wireless mic for you to use that is noise cancellation? I sent that message to him. I said, I'll find out, sir. So I sent to him later, and he sent money for that wireless mic. I can buy that mic myself. I think I bought it. It cost about 16,120 thereabout. It's not about the money that is important, but the investment in me. That was like, for me, I'm trying to remember the word now. That's like him saying, I'm part of what you are doing. I love what you are doing. Go on. So there's no challenge I have that I can't talk to my mentor about. And I also have my marriage mentor. When we have issues, I've told my wife, if I misbehave, this is the person you will talk to. And both of us know, you used to misbehave, this is the person we take our matter to. So when you don't want the two of us to carry ourselves to go and meet him, shall make sure everybody said is correct, and we are both behaving well. So I think that I personally think it doesn't have to be a pastor, but I think that every marriage should have a marriage mentor and somebody you submit to, so that you can resolve small issues before they become serious issues. That's my own sincere opinion.
Thank you so much, sir. And I share in that personal opinion of yours. It helps for accountability. Thank you so much, sir. That's a beautiful one, and it's a wrap. From here, it's been a time well spent. I appreciate you, sir, for always. Anyway, you don't have a choice. I'm a younger brother, so So thank you so much, sir, for always accepting our invitation.
You're welcome.
For honoring us, and we look forward to having you again and again for more of our sessions. Guys, please help me appreciating both everyone on YouTube. It was such an amazing session. Yes, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. YouTube says thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you so much. God bless
you. Thank you.
All right, everyone.
Bye.
Yes, sir. Okay, everyone. Good evening. Thank you so much. Yes, very impactful. Yes, I agree. And this is something for us to watch again and put into practice. I would like to thank you for staying to this very moment and for, making this this class also very lively. Well done. And I don't think I want to give any announcement now because of time. So whatever announcement I need to give, we'll just post it on the general group. Well done with your project. This week may be the last test that we will write. Okay, Ayokumi says, I'm really blessed to listen to these salient teachings. Yeah, loaded are beautiful. Yes, thank you. He's loaded. So this might be the last this week test that you're about to write now, maybe the last test that you write so that you can focus on your project effectively. Indeed, this is wonderful. Thank you, and God bless you. Thank you for the feedback. Thank you so much for appreciating it. God bless you all. All right, bye-bye. Have a lovely week ahead. Enjoy your week. Bye-bye.